So we're going to go ahead and begin here. Now we have our stage set up. So we have layer 1 on the bottom, the earth and sky. Layer 2, we have the tree. Above that, we have the guide layer. And on the very top layer, we have the leaf layer itself. Now everything is locked except for the leaf layer. We're going to unlock this now, because I'm going to go ahead and start with the animation part of it. So what I need to do is I need to pick the leaf that's going to be on the edge of the tree. And I think that this one right here will be a really nice one to have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and pull it and move it over close to the tree and put it on the edge of the tree right there. Now if I need to go ahead and zoom in to make sure it looks like it's sitting on there, I can. But you notice when I look at it, it looks awfully big. I mean, that is a huge leaf compared to that tree. So I think I need to shrink that down just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that leaf, put it back over here, and I'm going to shrink up all three simultaneously. And I do that so that way, if I have to copy paste another one in, they're already preset to the same size or ratio. So I click the whole group of them. Then I select the free transform tool. Then I'm going to hold the shift key and go to the four corners on the outside here and shrink up just a little bit to make it a little smaller. Then I release, click off to the side, and left click. All right, so now I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to go and take this guy here with my white arrow, drag it and put it right there on that spot. Now I'm going to go zoom in. And when I'm zoomed in, you notice I have him here, so I'll put it right there on that corner. So now he's going to be all set to go ahead and wiggle. Now with him on this corner, I'm going to go ahead and use this free transform tool. Now you notice with the free transform tool, it has this white dot in the center. That is the rotation point. So if I move my cursor down, I go to the corner, one of the four corners of the leaf here, and I go just close, ever so close, I get a rounded cursor. My cursor becomes rounded. It means I can rotate. Notice how it rotates on that center axis? It's rotating on that white dot. So what I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm going to go ahead and left-click on that white dot and drag it to the anchor. Right there at the base of the leaf, right there. So now if I go back in, move my cursor close to one of the four corners, get that bent arrow, left click and drag, and see how that leaf now rotates on that anchor point. So now I'm good to go here. So we're going to start off with this leaf sitting on the layer exactly where it should be. The anchor point has been moved for rotation, but according to the script on the blog, we have to wait until 2 seconds before the movement can happen. So the leaf is sitting on there for 2 seconds, and I'm going to go ahead and click here once with a left click, hit F5, and that stretches out that image. So if I zoom out, you can see that image is sitting on there for 2 seconds. I scrub with the scrub bar, off and on. See that? And those leaves, those extra leaves just sit off to the side. We don't need those right now. Okay, so now let's go ahead. I'm going to zoom back in again. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and start the animation process. So now I'm going to be doing a series of copying and pasting the leaf as the image that it is, and copying and pasting it over and over again onto the guide layer that is set up. And for the guide layer and the movement that we're going to have for the leaf, and just like with the ball bounce, the ball or the leaf, when it's falling, moving forward, it's going to be going very quickly. So you'll see some gap in between. But once it goes into the arc at the high point here, it's going to overlap, because that means it shows showing slowing direction. It slows up for a moment before it comes out and goes faster and starts to fall again. So, but first we want to start off with, we want to show the invisible hand of nature moving this leaf and getting it to move slowly and then faster and faster. So let's start off with, I want to right click and say copy frame. And then I go to the next blank notch in the timeline on the guide leaf, on the leaf layer, right click and say paste frame. Okay, now I've got this right here. I'm going to move it up a little bit. Move it up a little bit. There we go. I'm going to click it. Now what I want to do is, I really want to go back in and just not bring the whole frame with me, but just take one simple object. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy that guy right where it's at. Go right here in the timeline and right click and paste blank frame, insert blank keyframe. Then I'll go back to the stage here and I'll say paste in place. There we are, there's my leaf. So you can see back here, we've basically got 1, 2. So that leaf is up, which is what I want, and without bringing the other leaves along with it. So now I'm going to go ahead and right click and copy that frame, go to the next blank one in the timeline, and paste the frame. Now I'm going to rotate it up a little again. There we go. And then I go ahead and right click, copy frame, and paste frame. This time we go a little higher. Right click and paste frame. So now I'm going to go, and I'm going to start to come back up. I'm going to go back down again a little bit. So I'm going to move it down over here. Now, if I check how far I've come with this, I can go right here to my onion skin. Select that. You see, I can go ahead on going up and down. You see where that leaf has been, where it's going. So I'm up at the top one now. There we go. And now I'm going to start to move it back down again. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and right click and copy that and paste frame. Down. And then I say right click and I'm going to copy it and paste frame. Now I'll go down even further. And then I copy it. So every time after I move it, I go ahead and I copy the frame and get ready to paste it into the next notch in the timeline. So come back down, and I copy it and paste it. All right, so now I want to sort of repeat this in order. So I've got this, so that leaf going jumping up and down there. Yeah, so I want to play with that a little bit. But what I want to do is, if I want to make my life easy here, I want this to play out in sequence. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and take that leaf right here where it's down the bottom right there, right? So I'm going to go ahead and right click and copy it. And I move it back up to the midpoint and paste frame. And then I'm going to move it up back up a little bit, a little quicker, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Copy. Oops. Copy frame. There we go. And paste frame. So move back up again. There we go. That's that leaf going up and down. So now I get to this part down here, and it looks like I want to go back in, and I want this to pause. So I'm going to let it pause now for about second and a half. So I'm going to go to frame 4 second, and then I'm going to F5 that just to stretch it out, because I want that leaf just to sort of kind of move a little bit, kind of up and down once. There we go. If I hit return on the keyboard, just see that? Just there we go. Nicely moves up and down. Now what I'm going to do is I want to take this whole sequence, I'm going to copy and paste it and put it back over here again. To do that, I click on the first keyframe right about here, hold the shift key, and select the last one there on that notch. And then keep the cursor in the blue, and I'm going to right click and say copy frames. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my space bar and my left click and move over. I go right here, and I'm going to go ahead and right click and say paste frames. It's going to paste them in. Probably take a second. Click on it once. There you go. Kicks them all in there. So they're all here. So here's that leaf once, twice, right? But now I want it to move even faster. I want it to go even more so. So I'm going to paste it again. Right click and paste frames. Give it a moment. And then when it pops up, you can go ahead and click on that keyframe. It's going to extend right out. Boom, there's the whole group of them right there. So I've got basically this sort of one and then a double. So let's go back over here. I'll hit return on enter on my keyboard. You'll see once and then twice, right? You see that the wiggle starting to happen there, which is what we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead once, twice. Now I'm going to paste it in there again. But this time I'm going to play with it a little bit more. Let me select the first one in the sequence. Hold the shift key, select the last one in the sequence, right click, copy frames, and once again I'm going to paste in here. So I'm going to go ahead and go about a second, hit F5 just to stretch it out so nothing happens. Then I go right click here and I'm going to paste the frames. Give it a moment. It'll pop up, and then you'll click on just the keyframe itself and it will extend out. So I'll be ready to click right now. There it is. There they are. So this time now I'm going to copy and paste again because I want to sort of flicker madly. So I'm going to right click and paste frames again. So you can see I'm reusing that animation. I created a sequence of events and then I'm copying and pasting it to get more out of it. So I'll give it a moment here. So you figure it's basically going to have a little subtle bit of wind coming up, where there's a little bit of wiggle, a little bit more, and then a little bit more. Okay, go ahead and click on that. There it is. There we go. Now, I think what I'm going to do, though, is when I go back, let's go ahead and test this. Hit the enter on my keyboard. So we have 1, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we want to play with the speed, though, a little bit on this. We want to play with the speed on that wiggle a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the very first one here on that movement, and I'm going to extend those out one keyframe at a time. I'm going to extend those out. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the first one, go F5, F5, and just extend them all out. So what I want to do is I want to give it a little bit a sense of speed there, right? So let's go slow, slow on the up, fast on the down. See what that looks like. See that? Slow and fast. There we go. So I'm playing with the speed. So I go back to these. I go back to the down, right there, right there, with ultimate down. F5 that. Go further, I'll come back up. Come back up. Come back up. Okay, let's try that now. Go. And wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And that's good. Now we're all set to go. So I got our wiggle set up. So now we're ready to leave the tree. So let's go ahead now and I go to the last one in the sequence right here. And now it's going to come off and leave the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and copy that frame. Okay, copy frame. And I go to the next notch of the timeline, right click, and I'm going to paste frame. But now I'm going to move it forward. So I can left click and drag it, or I can use the arrows on the keyboard. I'll left click and drag, move it forward. I'm going to move it forward just about the full length of it, right? So it just barely overlaps, right? Just like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and copy this frame, right click, copy frame, go to the next one, right click and paste frame. And now I'm on the next keyframe here. And I'm going to rotate just a little bit, leave a little bit of space in between there because you wanted to pick up speed. Okay, and I'm going to click on this one and copy the frame. And I am going to paste the frame in. And once again, I'm going to move it forward, this time a little more space in between as I rotate that up. Kind of keep that going on that guide. Right, so you wanted to go quickly now. So now I'm going to go ahead and right click and copy that frame. And I'm going to paste it again. And this time with the pasting here, I have a little more speed there, and I'm just basically just going to move that up a little bit of rotation in there. A little bit of rotation in there. And right click and copy that frame. And right click and paste frame. All right, so I copy it there. Let's go up here. Now here it's going to start to slow again. So now I'm going to basically start to just let it overlap just a little bit. Right, so uppercase, and I'm going to copy it. And right click and paste frame. Right, there it goes here. And rotate again. There we go, right there. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to go ahead and right click and copy frame. And paste frame. And rotate and even a little slower by overlapping it just a little bit because it's starting to overlap. So let's go ahead and take a look at it from the beginning here. And so here we go. Go ahead and 1, 2, 3. Hit the enter key, and we have 1, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and whoosh, and off it goes. So there you have it, folks. There's the beginning of the leaf drop. Go ahead, go for it. Start copying and pasting and moving those frames.